Hi, it's Ted from the Devils in the Detail. Well, I've got one day free. I've just finished the RS and that went yesterday. So today, I had this panel painted about 2 months ago. We've had a little bit of an issue with the paint supply company for getting the other panels done, but we should have the paint by next week to paint the bonnet and the scuttle panel. But I've got some issues I've got to try and flat out. The paint's sunk back, and but the majority of it looks all right. But we've ended up with a load of fish eyes or something during the painting process, and they're all over the place. Now I'm about to start flatting it. I've left it long enough to gas out, so it should be hard enough. And then my intentions are to flat it again and then leave it to gas out again before I polish it. So because I've got a day free today and I haven't touched the car for a long while, I thought I'll get this flatted and then it can be gassing out while I'm doing the other work. Like I say, next week we should have the bonnet and the scuttle painted, and then that'll be left anyway to harden off and gas out properly. But the reason I'm going to do this today is because if I break through trying to get these, because some of them look deep, this will have to go back and be painted again, but it can be done at the same time as the other two panels. So today I'm going to flat these. I'm going to start on these bits first to see if it breaks through. If it breaks through here, there's no point in flatting up here because it'll have to be done again at the body shop. So I'm going to try and get this out, see how far it goes down. But there should be plenty of paint on. I mean, they used enough. I supplied the paint myself last time, and there was plenty of paint, so it should be thick enough. So I'm going to get on, flat this, and I'll let you know whether it's successful or not. Right, I've been flatting for about 5 or 6 minutes, just to have a look to see whether they're going to come out, and fortunately, so far, I'm managing to get them out, but I thought I'd stop and show you what it is exactly that I'm trying to get out. These are not lumps of dirt, these are fish eyes, so they actually go inwards like little craters. Now there's the remains of one just there. I've got 5 or 6 of them out there. As I move along the panel, you'll see there's a couple there, one there, another one there. So I've still got quite a few of them to see if I get out, but it's looking quite positive at the moment. I'm using 1200 grit, which is a bit more coarse than I would normally use when I was flatting and polishing, but what I'll do is, if I get these fish eyes out, I'll then go up to 1500 grit and flat the whole boot lid, and then follow it up with 2000, 2500, and then go to 3000 before I polish it. But I won't do the 3000 until it's gassed out again. But let's see if we can get these out. You know, I mean, they're quite prominent, you can see, you know, and when there's a real good shine on the panel, they'll stand out like a sore thumb if I don't remove them. Just one of them things, sometimes it happens. I haven't painted these myself, and I'd have probably got more dirt in than anything, but I don't know where they've come from. Normally a sign of silicons, but I know they're very, very strict on the silicon, you know, input in their place, but you never know. Right, I'm going to carry on and see what it comes up like. Like I say, if it breaks through, I can have it repainted again next week, but I don't really want to break through, because it just means leaving them standing again for months and months. Although I am about to be really busy, but I'm sure as the winter draws in, I'll find more time to get this done. Right, I'm going to crack on. Right, I've been on this pagoda boot for about 3 hours, flatting. Well, I haven't finished flatting, and basically what I've done now is I've turned all the lights off bar 2 in the unit, so that I can see the sort of reflection that the lights are giving. Now, it's important to get the finish as close to the finish you want during the heavy flatting stages, because the finer papers are just not going to take off as much texture as you would like. So during the early stages, I'm using 2000 grit at the moment. I'm going over the boot lid, and you can see the texture in the water as you are flatting, and you can see when it's wet whether you're getting rid of all the orange peel. Because this is not an OEM finish, it's going to be, you know, a show finish. An OEM finish, you could just flat it with 1500, polish it up, and that'd do, but we're not going for that. Now, also at the edges of the panels, you want a nice crisp transition into the next panel. You can see that I've taped off the edge of the boot during these early stages of flatting, because I don't want to break through on an edge. But when I get to the next stages at 2500 grit, I'll remove the masking, and then I'll gently flat the edges in, so that you know, they transition into this panel well, but I'm not using heavy grade paper right on the edges. So I'll tickle them in, but firstly, as soon as I turn the lights on, you know, I can already see there's a few wobbles that I don't want, so I'll be going over that again while I've got 2000 grit on the go. But overall, I've got rid of all the fish eyes, bar one little one. I'm hoping that I might be able to get the rest of that out. And basically I'm just working my way along the panels, you know, trying to get rid of as much of the orange peel effect as I can. You know, you can still see some slight movement in the light, but it's going to have two more stages of flatting yet. But like I say, I need to get these out while I'm using the heavy cut grit, because I'm not going to get rid of some of these, you know, with a finer paper. So I'm just going to keep going over and over, looking at the light, and as you could, well, hopefully you can see through the flatting marks. You know, there's some parts that need a little bit more work, but it's easily missed, and then when you polish it up you think, oh, I wish I'd flatted it some more. So it's best to get it out the way, take your time and get this flat in the early stages, because you've got to, if you finish polishing it and it still don't match the rest of the car, you've got to flat it all again. So I just thought I'd show, and you know, I'm working my way across and I've got about less than a quarter of the boot left to do before we start the next stage of flatting, and get that as fine as possible, and then a 3000 grit stage, which should show me what the light's reflection will look like. If that's not enough, I'll go over it again and again until it is, and it matches the rest of the car. But my main concern was getting out the fish eyes in the back. If they didn't come out, it'd have to be painted again, but they've come out. And I've showed no signs of getting close to breaking through, so I'm quite happy. So really, I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. You know, I can see the further I stand away, I can see more over here that needs going over again. But it'll be less work with the polisher in the end, although the flatting's hard work. The results are what you do it for. So I just thought I'd show that. I don't know when I'm going to get back on this car, but I'm going to try and nick the odd hour here and there and get this boot done. So there we have it, and I'll show you when I've done the next stages. But there's still a lot of work to go yet before it's ready to, you know, have the finishing stages of flatting. You know, the more I look, the more I see, but that's the way it goes. Couldn't see it when the place was flooded with light. It looked good, but now I've only got two lights, I can see better. So more work, more flatting, more paper, but at least the flatting bucket gets to do something. Right, I'll see you later.